And I'm glad you came here today. I have got all of the court documents. Okay? I have been studying. Okay? We are going to put that son of a bitch Gawain behind bars. All right? And his brother, too. Those motherfuckers can't get away with this shit. All
Can't
right?
keep getting away with it.
They're
Can't keep getting away with it.
Nobody even likes them anyway. And I've been building a case. I've got evidence upon evidence upon evidence. Are you proud of me? Say you're proud of me.
I'm so proud. I'm so fucking proud of you.
Ah, thank you, Daddy.
You're welcome.
Tonight's brought to you by A&W for the vanilla drinker in your life.
What is up, vanilla face?
Sup, Wolf brother? Awoo!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Black Tower Podcast. That's us. We talk about the Wheel of Time.
It is
the
us.
TV show, the books, the big white book of bad arts, the Wheel of Time Companion, Origins of the Wheel of Time.
Let's be honest. If you
that other book, we're not allowed to say the title of because it's only available to the Amazon shills that we clearly are.
Totes.
Yeah.
I bought a new yacht yesterday. It was great.
Me too.
Haven't even seen my last three. They're just sitting in a harbor in Florida somewhere.
I make sure that I station mine around so that anywhere that I might have to fly, there's one within 4 hours on whatever coast I may have to go to.
See, what I normally do is I normally send someone to Florida and have them sail the yacht to where I'm going to be. That way I don't have the 4-hour trip.
I've done that. There was I was in Boston with the yacht and had to go down the Chesapeake Bay with the yacht, or needed to be in Chesapeake Bay, and I had a yacht in Chesapeake Bay, but I left my phone charger in the one in Boston. So I sent somebody to Boston to sail that one down the Chesapeake Bay so I'd have my charger.
So you legitimately done that?
Huh? What? Bruh.
Thanks everybody for tuning in to another week.
Do you think this is what my background would look like if I had that kind of fucking money? Bruh. If I had the money to send somebody to sail a whole yacht just because I left my phone charger in it.
Look,
my entire
it's
wall.
Been a long day, okay?
My entire wall would be the art from Spare Time, all right?
I'm also apparently half brain dead, which is not new. It's par for the course. But this is a Wheel of Time podcast, and we do talk about Wheel of Time thingies. We don't usually talk about wheels or times. But maybe we do. But I'm Josh. I'm the Sword on the Hill. Nice to meet you.
You like my big white monster?
I do.
The Bajan-sized big white monster. You know, in my time in the military, quick little historical tangent on my life. This will be on the test later for all of you listening.
Noted.
The times where I was stuck working the gate of the military base, and somebody would make a PX run for us. It was there was no easy way to ask somebody to bring me back one of the large in size resealable cans of the White Monster brand energy drink without saying it like that. Because, of course, we're all children at heart. So whenever you look at the guy on patrol and go, hey, man, could you bring me like 2 of the Pepper Jack Tornadoes and a big white monster? 9 times out of 10, he'd look at you and just be like, I got a big white monster for you already right here.
That's so funny.
But I'm Andrew. I'm your Bajan Mahale. I like big white monsters, apparently. They taste good. Thankfully, my name's not Kyle.
That first Jordan Con together with you.
Yeah. Well, I made an exception for that one. That was a moderate.
I know. You wouldn't shut up about it. You're like, normally I go for the bigger ones.
Yeah. Thanks. This time, instead of a big white monster, I'll go for a moderate white creature.
We've got an exciting episode for you tonight. Our Ethan Mahale is on special assignment with the Black Tower. We sent
Where the fuck's Ethan? Where's Ethan?
Ethan Mahale. Ethan Hawk Mahale. Heyo! He who comes with the wine has officially come with the wine. Yeah.
That's what I walk into. Hey, man, you walked into the line of fire.
Hey, man. Yeah, that's what you walk into. Imagine how surprised I was. Sheesh.
It's not really long, but it's got the girth of a cheese wheel. That's what's really surprising.
They call me the Parmigiano Reggiano. They call me Parmesan. Why do they call you Parmesan? You'll find out later.
That's why I never park the yacht in anywhere in Italy, because every time I go to leave, they think I'm smuggling a cheese wheel out of there. And it's also why I can't stop too long in Wisconsin. I get the same kind of problems.
This fucking show. You know, the next critique we're going to be getting is two frat bros who just talk about cheese and don't talk about the Wheel of Time.
They spent 10 minutes comparing making dick jokes. Fucking disgusting and immature. You clicked on the video.
You know what I have to say to that? Thank you for your hate. Thank you. Just love it. Oh,
go back. Oh, he's packing.
Oh, he's packing.
11 inches around.
Think about it.
Damn it.
Damn it, Bobby. All right, let's do this. Hey, let's talk about Wheel of Time. And also, for all the haters out there, the cheese is still relevant because that's literally all they ate was bread and meat and cheese, motherfucker.
Cheese.
Oh
my God. Cheese. Well, let's make sure everybody's protected. Today's spoiler warning is coming to you courtesy of the long forgotten but freshly renewed in the Fourth Age Kingdom of Malkir. It's not their best swordsman, not their second best swordsman, but the third best swordsman. It's Rob from Malkir Talks with your spoiler warning, protecting you from the blight.
Welcome to the Black Tower. This is your spoiler condom. If you have not read the complete works of Robert Jordan, The Wheel of Time, books 1 to 14, and also New Spring, Big Bad Book of White Arts, and the companion, you are at risk of being spoiled. Spoilers come with side effects. These side effects may include headache, nausea, vomiting, death, dizziness, vaginal or penile eruptions and ejaculations, dysentery, cardiac arrhythmia, mild heart explosions, varicose veins, darkened stool, darkened souls, more vomiting, arthritis, hemorrhoids or diabetes, virginity, mild discomfort, vampirism or werewolfism, gender inequality for the whole planet, spontaneous dental hydroplosion, sugar highs, even more vomiting, or maybe just a mild rash. If you cannot deal with these side effects, please leave now, for fear of spoilers. You have been warned.
Bro, that censor beat threw me off so bad. I was like, what the hell just happened to my sound?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when I finally start setting my studio up. I have way too much power. That's all I have to say about that.
You know how you get a lot of fucking power? From the old cheese wheel.
I got all the sound effects, ladies and gentlemen. But that's fine. We're not here talking about sound effects. We're not talking about cheese. It's not a background breakdown. It's more, I guess this is more of a culture breakdown, right?
Not necessarily.
Because the episode, it's kind of a what if. It's kind of a theory. And we're kind of going with, what if the blue had a clue, right?
Kind of. So we gotta set a little bit of precedence, a little bit of backstory for this one.
Stage.
So here's the nice little thumbnail. Moiraine looking a little shocked, being like, I don't know what you're talking about. Siuan going like, yeah, about that.
The effects will affect your watching experience.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely can. So,
Stop.
oh, somebody's gonna be like, I'm never listening to these guys again.
Why is that shit so funny? I don't know. It just is. It's so funny. Oh my god. Oh.
Uh-oh. Can you hear? Can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Somehow I muted my. Oh wait. Oops. 1 second.
Okay. 1, 2.
I crashed my voice mod.
Your voice mod was like, really, Andrew? Really? Really?
That's where it'd be great to have like the Windows shutdown sound. Anyway. One ping only. Yeah. I used to have like the Rand like screaming no from like season 1 and that kind of stuff. I'll have to get some of those back to mess with them. Anyway, so the premise for this, it's now really come to light and become a bit of a sore topic, especially in the cold open of episode 1 of season 3 for the TV show. For those of you watching, that Siuan and Moiraine were aware of the dragon's rebirth and had a tasking to search for the Dragon Reborn to guide him. This is also true in the books, but very differently.
Right.
In the TV show, it's just kind of like they were just the only ones that were there for Guitara's foretelling, and then Guitara died, and they were like, yeah, we're just not going to tell anybody about this. We'll just find him on our own. We got this. So, I don't know. I don't think the TV show did a really good job at giving a motivation for them to keep it secret. Other than like a generic, like there are people that would seek to manipulate him and use him, and it's like, you mean like you both are?
Oh my god! Right? Like Moiraine does from day 1.
Yeah.
Even like books, TV show. I would.
Yeah.
I know this isn't the subject of the show, and I know I'm going off on a tangent really quick, but I would argue that even in the books, Moraine's motivation is 100%. I need to find the dragon so that I can manipulate the dragon. I can't let anyone else have a chance to manipulate the dragon. It has to be me. Why? Moiraine, why are you qualified? What makes you qualified? Just because you are part of an exclusive group of 2 people who know for certain that the dragon has been reborn, why are you keeping in mind that in the books they had this vision while they were accepted? They were also just children themselves.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get into next.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, in the books, Moiraine and Siuan are both accepted. They're relatively fresh accepted, I believe, and they are standing in attendance for then Amyrlin Tamara Ospina and the Aes Sedai Guitara Moroso, who, of course, was physically blind, but as Moiraine says in the books and in the TV show, could see more than most because she had the gift of foretelling. And it's in the presence of Siuan, Moiraine, and the Amyrlin Tamara that she has a foretelling so strong that at the end of it she dies. And it is the foretelling that the dragon had been reborn on the slopes of Dragonmount.
He lives. The dragon takes his first breath.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, oh, light, he lives. You know, it's pretty serious.
Yeah.
Tamara, as the Amyrlin, immediately realizes that this is massively important news, that people in the tower will seek to use it for their own benefit. It is dangerous. Yes, I know what happens. I just refuse to read it because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, he knows what happens. He watched the TV show.
Fuck, piss off. So Tamara immediately swears Moiraine and Siuan to silence. It's sealed to the flame, and then orders them to deliver 5 messages to 5 full Aes Sedai sisters. And those 5 sisters, along with the kind of caveated addition of Moiraine and Siuan, create what is known as Tamara Ospinya's searchers. The five sisters are Malin Arganya, Karine Nagashi, who we see in the TV show, Laurel Tarisi, or Tarsi, Valera Gorovny, Ludis Danin, and Aisha Ravenous. Bruh.
I counted 6.
Who's the other one that finds out? Hold on. There is a reason. I forgot why. I think one of them like elicits the assistance of another one.
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
5,
that's
6.
probably it. And well, the interesting thing about this is all the searchers eventually die. And it's like it is literally maybe the Acolyte, the Disney Star Wars TV show The Acolyte was peaking off of Robert Jordan New Spring here, because it was like 6 Aes Sedai just die within a couple of months. And everybody's like, "Oh, there is no war in Ba Sing Se." You know what I mean?
Sorry, I'm quickly trying to find the explanation.
No, you're good. You're good. And these but once again though, these searchers, they're all Blue Ajah, right?
No, actually, none of them are red or Blue Ajah. They are all from. You have one from the White Ajah, one Green Ajah, 2 Gray Ajah, 1 Brown Ajah, 1 Yellow Ajah.
Wow. Why didn't I mean, because, geez, I always just assumed they were blue. That's crazy.
Okay, all right, I got it. I think I found it. Hold on. Nope, this is 2 other people that die that like Malin. So like Malin, Maria, who at the time was a part of the Grey Aja, they were found dead in their bed along the same way Satela Delarma was, who was the head of the Blue Aja Eyes and Ears. So her and Maria of the Grey Aja were both found separately dead in their beds, just like Malin, who was one of the searchers. However, the Blue Aja Eyes and Ears and the Maria were not confirmed to be amongst the women chosen by Tamra. I keep saying Tamara. It's Tamra, not Tamara.
I mean, it could be either way.
You know, she sent Moiraine. Here's what my assumption is going to be right now. And until we find it, because eventually I'll find something that tells me I'm wrong, because that's generally what happens. Moiraine and Siuan were sent to deliver 5 messages to 5 sisters. Tamra went and grabbed the 6th one herself.
Oh, okay, that could be.
Is what I'm gonna go with. Of the 6, Valera of the Brown Aja and Ludis of the Yellow Aja, their cause of deaths are unknown as far as like specifics. Now, even without the quotes, like
right.
Okay, all of them were killed by the Black Aja. All of them, all 6 of them, systematically killed by the Black Aja, because the Black Aja got wind of what happened and knows the prophecies and knows that the dragon's been reborn and knows what's happening, because they've got spies and eyes everywhere, and kills them all. Malin, quote unquote, dies in her sleep. But we know this isn't true and that she was killed by the Black Aja, because the night that Malin was said to have died in her sleep, Siuan Sanchi was actually hiding underneath her bed.
Right.
And Malin never came back to her room that night. And it's later on that Chesmal actually announces that the Black Aja killed Malin. Loril Tarsi was killed by Marianne Redhill, who was an Aes Sedai of the Blue Aja publicly, but was actually secretly Black Aja, who, in terms of strength, was only a little weaker than Moiraine. In the longer, shorter things, she was an Aes Sedai for almost like 200 years, and actually served as the mistress of novices under Tamra, and the Amerlin before Tamra, and was known for being really good at finding out what the novices didn't want her to know. She was also the one that summoned Moiraine and Siuan to their accepted to their test for the shawl, not their accepted test, their test for the shawl.
For the actual Aes Sedai test.
Yeah. And then after Tamra died and Syrian Vayu became the Amerlin, Marion was replaced as the Mistress of Novices, and then Marion became one of the Black Ajah searchers for the Dragon Reborn.
Bad choice, becoming Black Ajah.
Yeah, yeah.
You get the sad trombone of the lyre.
This is the one. Marion was the one that ran into Lan and Moiraine in Kandor, tried to kill them, killed Derek, the Prince of Kandor, Briss, the consort and swordbearer of the Queen of Kandor, and Isel Arel, the daughter of Eden Arel, who was Lan's Carnera. And then she turned her back on, and this is the one that Moiraine stabbed in the back with a knife after they fought with the One Power.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
It was an awesome scene.
Yeah.
You'd know that if you read it.
I mean,
okay,
I'm not really that surprised about Moiraine stabbing someone in the butt.
Ayo. Okay, so you set the stage. What are we doing with this then?
Yeah, so there's that. Two more. Aisha Ravenos was allegedly killed by bandits in Murendi. Of course, we know that is not the truth. That she was killed by the Black Ajah at the age of 280.
The ripe old age.
Well, she was still young. She was still young by Aes Sedai standards. She still had another at least 120 years in her, roughly, potentially. Right. Karine Nagashi is the one that I always found the most interesting because the story for her death was that both Karine and her warder drowned in a storm in the river Alguenya after being tossed overboard. But in reality, they were killed by the Black Ajah. Karine, we actually got to see in the TV show alive a fair amount of time, about 19 to 20-ish years after she should have been dead. And Logain rectifies that inconsistency in the timeline pretty quickly, pretty easily.
Right.
And then Steppen does his best Star-Lord impression and kind of fucks things up and almost gets them all killed. Because Star-Lord was the true villain of was it Infinity War or was it Endgame where they almost had the gauntlet?
No, it was Infinity War.
Yeah.
Oh, he is the true villain. What a punk.
Stupid. So that's how it all happened in the books. All the searchers are killed except for the unofficial searchers that are just just have the knowledge sealed to the flame in Siuan and Moiraine. They tell no one else at all. And especially after they're like, okay, well, the Black Ajah is killing the known searcher Aes Sedai and all this other shit. We're not going to tell anybody. The question that led to the start of this episode, as we're 30 minutes into the episode finally, is what would have happened or how different would things have been had Siuan and Moiraine clued their Ajah, at least their Ajah.
Oh my god.
In on what was happening. Because Siuan was already on track to be Amerlin by us knowing what happens. So, and the Blues would have just pressed even more for that, which I don't think would have been your problem. You still would have had an Amerlin raised from the Blue Ajah. But you would have also then had full unfettered access and use with full support of the most comprehensive and robust, skilled network of eyes and ears that exist in the world at the time. The only people that have more spies potentially out in the world is the Shadow.
Right.
So that's kind of where the kind of thought process comes into how different would things have been?
Why? Okay, so question then also along the same lines. Why? Once again, why the need for secrecy in the first place? This is Swan Sanche and Moiraine Damodred recognizing the flaw of trust in the tower, right? And this is at a time in which the tower is supposed to be completely copacetic. Yeah, it's got its politics, oh, it's we've got our politics, but everything's fine. Like we're all still on the same team, right, guys? Right, guys? And it's like, no, you're not. And the reason why I will say it again and again and again, Swan Sanche was a failure as a leader is because she did nothing to repair those rifts. And as a matter of fact, capitalized on that mistrust, capitalized on those rifts in order to secure her own power. That's bad leadership. You're not inspiring trust. You're not inspiring any meaningful influence, any positive, meaningful influence. Your moral character is shady at best. Because if you're willing to capitalize on mistrust that already exists just to secure more power for yourself, you're a shitty person. Okay. And this is why Swan is a failure as a leader. Now, Moiraine is the same way. I mean, we get this in the TV show. I'm actually really glad that they put this in the TV show. But they put it in the books as well, where Moiraine is an absolute enigma. Moiraine, you do not know what that woman is up to until she's already done it. And she's two moves down the line. She's playing four-dimensional chess, and the rest of us are playing checkers. So, first off, why? The White Tower supposedly has been preparing for the rebirth of the dragon for 3,000 years. Why, now that they have confirmation, like I can understand as novices being like, oh God, 6 sisters have died. We need to secure our positions and then figure this out. But Swan literally became Amerlin. At any time, she could have issued a decree and been like, hey, guess what? The dragon has been reborn. I witnessed a foretelling. We need the dragon to come back to the White Tower. Okay, maybe she doesn't want to make a proclamation, but maybe she announces it to the Aes Sedai and says, hey, don't say anything because we don't want to cause a panic, but now's not the time for petty differences. Now's the time to start circling the wagons. Now's the time to start uniting because the dragon's born. And she could have been preparing since Rand's infancy. But because, for whatever reason, they decided to keep it a secret, not only does Moiraine have to fight the literal world to try and find him and bring him back to the tower, she has to fight other Aes Sedai to do so. And it's a bad plan. It's a bad plan. It makes very little sense.
Here's my thought process for why the initial push for secrecy from Tamra or Tamra, from Tamra. Tamra is from the Blue Ajah as well, and the Blue Ajah seems to have one of the better kind of like finger on the pulse of the attitudes of the Ajahs of the White Tower, which I think is like one of the main reasons why Elida like fucking exiles the Blue Ajah. I mean, they all leave because they're like, fuck the Reds, but,
right?
We got third age red versus blue here going on. But anyway, I think Tamra knew, both as coming from the Blue Ajah and as Amerlin having to deal with all of the sitters and all of the Ajahs and trying to herd cats, basically, that already I say already, this is 978 NE.
Right.
The White Tower is already heavily absorbed in plots and schemes and things of that nature. And you have the different Ajahs that have guaranteed, the ones that care and really want to do things, have been planning what they would be trying to do if they were the ones to discover the Dragon Reborn, for the clout and power it would bring them in the White Tower.
Right.
Because just imagine, like, being the Ajah to say, well, we found the Dragon Reborn. You know, the White Ajah did that, not the Reds
Right.
who search for. Just imagine the prestige that would come with that, and the influence that would gain you. So I think that Tamara seeing that, and that the scheming would probably cause more divisions in a tower that would need nothing more than to be its most united when the Dragon's Reborn, wanted to keep it a secret for that reason. But I think that Tamara, because there has to be a reason that Moiraine and Siuan were with Tamara, and I get the impression that they weren't just with Tamara this off chance, that this happened pretty frequently. So it makes me think that all three of them were kind of the same mind, that while the dragon needed to be guided and protected, he also needed to be not chained and collared and caged by the White Tower, or he wouldn't be able to do his job. And that was their fear, is that they knew that the rest of the White Tower wanted to just basically treat him like another male Chandler that they couldn't gentle yet, and basically chain him like a dog.
Right.
So thus the need to keep it secret. And I think that push for secrecy, if nothing else, survived long enough for sisters to start dropping to the Black Ajah, which happened super fucking quick, to where they can go, okay, now we actually don't know who we can trust. There are clearly people that can break the oaths to the oath rod. There are clearly people working for the shadow here. We can't reliably trust anybody with the knowledge of what we're doing. That's why Moiraine spends all of her time out of the tower. Like, okay, they kind of divide and conquer. Siuan, as the Armelin, stays in the tower to manage and mitigate the search from the tower, while Moiraine goes out and does the actual grunt work.
And that kind of gets to be my point, though, because Siuan, as Amerlin, could start healing those fractures. What does she do? Not that. And so as a result, you have a tower who, because look at it like this, right? From the time Randa's born to the time Moiraine finds him is 20 years, right? Moiraine takes her test for the shawl in New Spring, basically like a couple months after Randa's born. So it is conceivable that Tam Althor is just barely getting back to the Two Rivers, or has only been back to the Two Rivers for a couple weeks at best, when Moiraine attains the shawl and retreats from the White Tower to go find him. Okay, cool. Yeah. Obviously, they're accepted. They can't do anything about that. And even when they get the shawl, it's not like they can just magically overnight be like, hey, why can't we be friends? We should all love each other. Let's hug and make up. Siuan, knowing what's at stake, begins playing on those fractures, those rifts in the different organizations in the tower, and thinks, I guess, that she's going to command power and win Tarmin Gaiden by manipulating people into signing up. I don't know. Now we did have a hat. We did have a comment in the chat.
I think she overestimates her import. Like,
sure.
I think she overestimates her role as the Amerlin in the role that'll play for the last battle.
Right.
And kind of like almost like acknowledge that she may not be the Amerlin when all this happens, but she can't really focus. Like, she has to conduct herself like she is going to be the Amerlin, and that things will work in the way. And once the last battle's announced, like, they know that they're going to follow her. So I think she is like slowly trying to work on bridging those gaps as much as she can. But you have somebody that right now, because this starts in what's 978 NE, that she becomes an Aes Sedai.
Right.
She doesn't become Amerlin until fucking when? When does she become Amerlin? Fucking what date did she become Amerlin? God damn it! Where's the fucking history and activities and at the White Tower? 988. Yeah. Okay. 988. So 10 years before the start of the books. So she's had 1 decade of time amongst people that live to be easily 200 years plus to undo 3,000-ish years of plotting and rifts and division.
Sure. No, I get that.
And don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying like I like, yeah. That's, I think she is trying to do it. I think it's without a cataclysmic event like we see later on, like the splitting of the White Tower. I don't think it's a reasonable or a realistic goal for her to achieve.
Sure.
It's like, yeah, it's like saying like, hey, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in a week without surgery.
Right. And the point I'm getting there is, well, but also to borrow from your metaphor, it's like saying I'm going to lose 50 pounds in a week without surgery. Oh, and by the way, I'm not going to change my diet. I'm going to do everything I've always done. And that's what Swan does. She jumps in and she immediately, like a duck to the water, she just jumps in with the politics, with the White Tower politics, and she starts navigating those currents. And there's very little reconciliation. There's very little healing of rifts. There's very little of that. And as a matter of fact, she gets to the point where she is capitalizing on those, making them worse in effect to solidify her seat of power. And it's that mismanagement and misleadership that allows Elida the ability to run her out. Now, if, right, so we got this whole thing, say if they were to have been able to tell the Blue Ajah, I honestly wonder if they'd still be able to find anything for a number of reasons. A, in New Spring, right, Moiraine has, this is how Moiraine gets her list because of the assignment, special assignment that she's on to keep notes and take notes and make a list of every single child that's born during the Blood Snow, right? Because they're trying to figure out which kid was born on the slopes of Dragon Mount. Well, two things. One, she never, ever, ever manages to get Tam, because Tam doesn't stick around. He pieces out. And two, he goes to the Two Rivers, which is isolated from everything. I don't think it's ever mentioned even once that there's even a set of eyes and ears in the Two Rivers. I mean, in the books, the Two Rivers haven't even seen nobility or an Aes Sedai in years. So Rand probably still had a pretty good hiding spot as a kid growing up. Now, if the Blue Ajah was looking for a kid born in blah, 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 and they had eyes and ears all over the world, and their eyes and ears were returning nothing, it might be an easy thing to say, okay, where do we not have eyes and ears? Let's go check those places. And maybe they would have found them a lot sooner. And the fun part is what if they would have paid Padan Fain for information in the Two Rivers?
Yeah. So I mean, here's also one of my thoughts. Knowing that the dragon's been reborn,
right?
They could also, because an eyes and ears network also functions more than just listening. They can also spread shit, and I think that they could have used the eyes and ears network to also start spreading the rumors or spreading little tidbits here and there, dropping breadcrumbs to the other Ajahs.
Controlling motives.
Yeah, that, hey, there was a baby born on Dragon Mount, and whisked away, and that seems really like in line with the Crithion cycle and the prophecies of the dragon, and start putting those little feelers out there and slowly getting the tower collectively wondering what was going on. I mean, I think their biggest detriment is, especially once they know the Black Ajah is a thing, not operating off of the assumption that the Black Ajah knows everything they know already.
Right.
Within reason, like not being careless with their information, but not at least sitting there going like, hey, if we know he's been reborn and we're looking for him, it's almost guaranteed.
Sure.
Especially, that uniquely almost entirely uniquely, the searchers sent by Tamara are being killed or have been killed. The Black Aja knows, which means the Shadow knows, which means you don't gain anything long term from hiding the fact that the dragon has been reborn from the rest of the White Tower. That's not information worth bogarting anymore, I don't think. And with that, and you start dropping the rumors to that, eventually somebody's going to take and feed that rumor back to Siuan, and it's going to come to the Amerlin, and it's going to give her the out to bring it before the hall without taking and revealing the secret herself. I mean, she's the Amerlin. She can unseal things from the flame now if she wanted to. Right. But it gives her the out to bring it up to the hall, and it would remove Elida's entire thing. Like all of her, the only thing that seals Siuan and by extension Leanne, whatever, their fate of being deposed and stilled is the keeping of the secret that the dragon had been reborn away from the rest of the tower.
Right.
Namely the hall. That's it. Without that nugget of information, Elida could have never overthrown Siuan. At least not to the full extent of her being stilled. And because at that point there'd be like no way to prove that like she's known about it. And that's why Moiraine's been out and about running around.
Well, and this brings up another point, though, as to whether or not it would have been valuable for the Blue Ajah to be in on the hunt, so that when Elida comes through and says, "Hey, you've been hiding this from us," they now have allies, and they don't have to worry about being stilled. As it is, the Blues leave in indignation. When Elida does, they just leave.
I think they would have still been stilled because you would have still I think it would have been worse for the Blue Ajah to have known about it and none of the other Ajahs to have known, and then reveal they knew when Elida challenges Siuan in the hall. Because instead of them having allies with other Ajahs because they're mutual dislikes of the Reds, every Ajah would just turn around and be like, "Wait, the biggest news story, the biggest impactful event to happen to us in our lifetimes happened. You all knew about it, and we were supposed to be friends, and you didn't say jack shit."
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, they would sit there and be like, okay, not only should Siuan and Leanne be deposed and stilled, the blue sitters should be deposed and stilled, the head of the Blue Ajah should be deposed and stilled. It would validate the Red Ajah's witch hunt. Giggity. Yeah. Maybe not giggity, but haha. Their witch hunt against the Blue Ajah. I think had it gone that route, I think it would have potentially it would have kneecapped the Blue Ajah, I think.
Yeah. You're bringing up a really good point. And honestly, I think sometimes we have these conversations as an exercise in futility. Because we say, why did that need to happen? Or what if that didn't happen? And as we kind of go down these little trails, we go, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right. Like there's
dropped the little breadcrumbs.
Well, that's the thing, right? But as the news as a whole, there's no real choice. You can't just announce it to the world. You can't just announce it to the tower. You can't just announce it to an Ajah without mass hysteria, political rivalries, being ripped open, or political rivalries being ripped open. Like there's not a lot of great options, and I think it's almost like people, veterans in active duty, and anybody serving will know this. It's almost like showing up to your PT test, not realizing it was your PT test, right? Like they said, "Hey, come Friday morning." Okay, cool. What are we doing?
I thought this was a practice.
Yeah. No, it's not a practice. It's your actual test.
Oh, and no.
To pass, that sucks. That's the worst because you're not prepared. And I feel like that's a little bit like what's happened with the White Tower. They've been told that you have to come Friday morning. It's Monday, and you have to come Friday ready to take your PT test. And they're going, we have absolutely zero preparation. None.
Well,
we are not at all prepared for this.
There's another kind of shitty part for at least Siuan and Moiraine as well, because after Tamra dies, until Siuan becomes Amerlin, it is impossible for them to reveal the secret to the tower without breaking tower law.
Right.
because the next Amerlin doesn't know.
Correct.
So the next Amerlin can't unseal the secret to the flame.
That's
So it's not
a
until
really good
Siuan
point
takes
too,
over. Siuan is the only one that can unseal the secret to the flame. But by the time she can, they already know that the White Tower's infected with Dark Friends.
Yeah.
Honestly, Siuan, if she had a better lawyer, she would have never been deposed. She had a fantastic legal defense. Like, legitimately, she could have. All she had to say, like,
Well,
here's where she really fucked up. I just realized this. Siuan really fucked up not by keeping the Dragon Reborn's birth a secret, but by opting to prioritize not outing the Black Ajah.
yeah.
By elevating that secret over the rebirth of the dragon. She deemed in the moment that she was challenged by Elida that keeping the existence of the Black Ajah a secret was a bigger need.
That's a good point. I like
than
that point.
than saying, okay, yeah, I knew this. It was sealed to the flame by Tamra. I couldn't say anything without breaking Tower Law until I became Amerlin. But in the meantime, here's 6 Aes Sedai, also all sworn to secrecy under Tamra, sent out to look for the Dragon Reborn, all of which either died suspiciously or
Okay.
we know for a fact have been killed by a dark friend who is from the White Tower. We have dark friends in the tower. The Black Ajah is real. We have a problem.
Okay. I hear what you're saying there, and I like it. I do. However, let me play devil's advocate for a second, because the last and I know we don't usually delve into politics here, but I promise this will be neutral. The last several administrations have come into office and been like, we're going to declassify documents. And everybody goes, oh, we're going to finally know what happened with blah, blah, blah. Then the documents are declassified and everybody reads them and nobody believes them still. Okay. Right? Because, oh, yeah, that happened 70 years ago. That means you've been sitting on this for 70 years, for 40 years, with the classified document. That gives you 40 years to get your story straight. That gives you 70 years to get your story straight. We don't believe it. It's not believable. It's not credible. So Siuan gets in as Amerlin, and she has a magic revelation that Tamra had this sealed to the flame. Now, the one thing that gives this credence is that they are bound by the oath rod, right? They can't speak a word that is not true. But all Aes Sedai know how to tie the truth in knots to be able to say what it is they want to say. So, how credible would it have been for Siuan to jump in and say, aha, unsealed to the flame. Look, everybody.
I mean, all she would have to do to
actually been effective, I mean,
for her to. Are we talking about like her revealing the Black Ajah or unsealing the secret of the dragon's been reborn?
I mean, a little bit of both.
Became Amerlin.
A little bit of both.
The first one, no. Like I don't think she would have without confidence that they had gotten rid of the Dark Friends in the White Tower. But it's a lot of questions too. Like, why didn't she find sisters she trusted, knowing that the Black Ajah existed in the time between her taking over as Amerlin, watching these other Aes Sedai, or having already seen these other Aes Sedai searching for the dragon die, finding out from Moiraine what's happened, and knowing that it's the Black Ajah that's doing this, or that at least it's some form of Dark Friends in the White Tower. Why didn't she go ahead and start searching to root out the Black Ajah during this time, at least in secret, so that way, at least whenever Elida goes, you've known about the Dragon Reborn, and you've hidden it from the entire hall, and you've broken Tower Law, and she could go, actually, here's the whole deal. And then she says it plainly. I could not, in good conscience and safety, reveal that the dragon had been reborn because there are dark friends in the White Tower. Because here's the thing, they can twist their words, but when the Aes Sedai say it directly and plainly, there's no way around it. Like at the worst case scenario, assuming they know the truth, that you just have to believe that what you're saying is the truth.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to actually be the truth. It means that she earnestly believes that she's doing the right thing. and that'll give credence. So we're at the, I think at that absolute worst case, even if they still say that she's fucking wrong and shouldn't have done it, she no longer gets stilled. She just gets deposed.
I can see that.
But
and even then, if that happens, right? Say she does it like that, then Elida has to go. Like, even if Elida manages to depose her, then Elida is now saddled with the Black Aja exists and the dragon is reborn. Like, no, that would have been a pretty good maneuver.
How suspicious do you look being the one still pushing to depose the Amerlin that plainly says, while under the three oaths, there are dark friends in the White Tower and it's a problem we need to deal with? Like, the optics of that, I think had that happened, as soon as Siuan said that,
one would hope, right?
Plainly, you would think that the optics would immediately make the rest of the sitters go, Elida, do you still want her ousted? And when Elida goes, yeah, they're going to be like, are
you sure about that?
Are you a bad guy? Because you seem like a bad guy right now.
Are we the baddies?
And the truth is, she is a bad guy, but not for the same reason everybody else is a bad guy.
Yeah.
She's her own bad guy.
Yeah. She's her own worst enemy.
But no, I think that is the good question. Like, with the knowledge of the Black Aja's existence, and here's the thing, like, unreliable narrator, there is a chance, of course, that Siuan was doing shit.
Shut up, Wine.
That Siuan was doing shit in the background. That maybe that's why she wasn't doing as much as she potentially could to heal the divisions between the Ajas, because she was focusing on rooting out and getting rid of the Black Aja, or at least hindering their efforts.
Yeah,
it would seem to indicate that with how much, because she very, very much trusted Varen. Much trusted Varen.
I love it.
And Varen had knowledge of and was helping guard the 13th depository and the Angrial of the White Tower.
Verily, Varen is very trusted.
So I think that maybe does explain. Maybe that's why Siuan was doing so much political wheeling and dealing, was realizing that Moiraine is out there doing everything to find the Dragon Reborn, knowing about the Dark Friends and the Black Aja in the White Tower. Siuan realizes that the best thing she can do is use everything at her disposal to hinder the Black Aja and Dark Friends in the White Tower. And if she can get rid of them while doing it, fantastic.
I love it. That's actually that's really good thought.
But how much more information could she have potentially found out? And maybe she did find out some, because we know, even though she's no longer technically Blue Ajah, she still has a close relationship with the Blue Ajah.
Right.
But how much easier, or how much would it have helped to have the Blue Ajah's network of eyes and ears, like Siuan still does in the books?
Yeah.
To actually, that answers it for the books. For the book question, that answers what I was going to say right then. Like, Siuan was already using the full extent of the eyes and ears of the Blue Ajah to try to interfere with or find the Dark Friends and the Black Aja in the White Tower. She was already using all the eyes and ears she could, both as from the Blue Ajah and as the Amerlin. Like, she was already okay. I respect Siuan more with thinking about it in this context now.
Yeah.
Like, I really think now, looking at it, that Siuan stuck in between a fucking, I don't know. I was trying to think of a fish metaphor to use. A silver pike and a fishing net. And it stuck in between the bow of a boat and a rocky shore. That she was already doing everything she possibly could to hold the White Tower together, hinder the Dark Friends in the White Tower.
Yeah.
Which does help explain a bit better, because isn't it in the second book, the Dragon Reborn, when they're in Faldar, that the Gray Man tries to hit her with the crossbow bolt, and kill her, and it is other than her being the Amerlin, it's why are they really trying to assassinate her that hard? Why are they doing that? It puts that into a lot more of, I think, of a believable aspect. I mean, yeah, she's already worth assassinating as the Amerlin, but if she's seriously hindering the efforts of the Black Aja and the Dark Friends in the White Tower, and then the first time that she goes out of the White Tower, she has minimal guard compared to being in the White Tower. It's harder, or it's easier to get to her, and they try to kill her there because the Shadow doesn't necessarily have a way of knowing that she's going to get deposed. I mean, Alviarin and them are still trying to push Elida to go for it, but They don't have control of Elida yet. They only have control of their own folks.
Dang, that's a whole lot. Like I said, I love these ones. I love these episodes where we think we know, but we have no idea, and we come to the end of it and we kind of go, "Oh, maybe we're gonna think about that a little bit more. Maybe we're gonna recall some of those opinions." I don't know. That's a tough one. This is a good one. Thanks for everybody for tuning in tonight. What do you guys think about this whole situation? Would it have been feasible? Is there any way it would have been feasible to get more people in on the hunt for the dragon? Because God, my final thoughts here are just as we've talked about it. There was no way for Swan and Moiraine to really get anybody else involved without risking their lives. And I don't mean their own lives. I mean risking the lives of the other people. And there was really no way to get their Ajah involved. There was really no way to put that in except for like what you were saying, that Swan would have been better served to use that as sort of like an ace in the hole kind of a thing, and she kind of didn't. She kind of dropped the ball. So interesting, real interesting. I like it, and that's what we love about these books. Andrew, do you have a final thought, or was that kind of where you're going with that?
I think for the most part, that's kind of where I'm going with that. I did have one more, like, really quick thought. I think ultimately it's good that they couldn't find Rand until they did, because had the White Tower found him, the younger Rand is found, and the younger Rand is found, the quicker he's pulled away from Tam and the Two Rivers, the less wholesome and the less solid his upbringing is, the less solid his character is, the more predisposed to falling to the madness he is.
That's a good point,
and
too,
the more likely I think it is that that he turns to the shadow, actually.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Imagine, because there's not like a bunch of like kids or dudes just hanging out at the White Tower, just being like coddled and watched by the Aes Sedai. I mean, there's warders and everything, but there's not just like children being heavily guarded and monitored and catered to or cared for at the White Tower. Imagine they bring in like a 5-year-old kid, and he's always got a bunch of Aes Sedai around him, and they're always watching him like he's a dangerous like beast that could snap and like kill somebody anytime. Immediately they'd be like,
yeah,
that's him. Let's either kill him now or let's start manipulating him. And who's to say they wouldn't have gathered enough Black Ajah sisters to turn.
I love it. So, I love it.
Ultimately, it happened in a way that was ultimately better. It could have been things could have gone better, but I think it's the sooner they found him, the worse off Ram would have been.
Yeah.
So he needed his 19 years with Zaddy.
He did indeed. So. Hey, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being awesome while receiving this week's dose of taint. We appreciate you. And if you want to support us and appreciate us, go ahead and hit that like button and the subscribe button, because it's awesome and you will never regret it ever. Not once, I promise.
Just like you'll never forget witnessing the cheese wheel
of doom. Thanks everybody. My name is Josh. I'm the Sorovan Mahale. No, stop. It's okay. Okay. You guys are too much. Thank you. Thank you.
This is your reminder from the AFA to check your smoke detector batteries. Replace them if they're making that noise. Do the things. Anyway, I've been your Blue Ajah. My name's Andrew. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoy what we do here, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it to your friends, do all that fun stuff. Check out blacktowerpod.com for our Discord and all of our merch and all that fun stuff. There's also
stuff.
where the Patreon is if you want to be able to listen to this live without any edits.
You've been waiting for this moment, for this feeling to grow.